Christian von Koenigsegg, founder and CEO of the high-performance automaker Koenigsegg, revealed a next-generation engine technology that could displace electric vehicles entirely. The unveiling took place at a tightly controlled invite-only event hidden from public view and attended by only top automotive elites and industry giants. He introduced the revolutionary engine design, a monster in itself with power and torque like you can't believe, in a very friendly way. This innovation isn't just a step forward, but the start of a whole new automotive era inside the camless revolution. Christian von Koenigsegg didn't just stroll onto the event at the old airbase runway in Engelholm, he owned the moment. Under the soft glare of studio lights he brought out a short, wide-bodied carbon fiber test mule, tapped a button and suddenly, silence gave way to something entirely new. Gone was the mechanical chatter of cams and chains. In its place, a clean, sharp hiss. That sound came from dozens of tiny air-driven pistons firing with mind-bending speed and precision. This was Koenigsegg's lightweight engine running on a radical system called free valve. There's no camshaft, no timing belt, just ultra-fast pneumatic actuators, all controlled by artificial intelligence, adjusting every valve hundreds of times per second. That means more power from each drop of fuel and way less waste. This wasn't some wild last-minute invention. Koenigsegg and his engineers have been refining free valve for nearly a decade. Back in 2016, they shocked everyone by fitting it into a little 1.6-liter Chinese hatchback. The results were wild: 47% more power, 45% more torque, and 15% less fuel use. Still, brute force was never the only goal. Koenigsegg and his team became obsessed with efficiency. Free valve's dyno tests already show it climbing toward the magic number 50% thermal efficiency. That's nearly double what old-school muscle cars managed. And it's possible because this engine doesn't waste heat. Every cylinder breathes exactly what it needs. No more, no less. When the car is idling, the engine just closes all the valves and waits, barely using fuel at all until you press the pedal again. And it's not picky about what you feed it. This engine can run on regular gas, pure methanol, Brazilian ethanol, even synthetic e-fuels made from captured carbon and clean electricity. Fill it up with Sweden's biodiesel, or straight-up e-methanol, and you get almost net-zero carbon emissions without needing to dig more lithium or strain the power grid. But torque is cheap in the world of supercars. So in early June 2025, Koenigsegg opened up the old Air Force hangar at their headquarters in Engelholm and invited a few test drivers and journalists to see the thing run. They watched a stripped-down Gemera prototype, still wearing sensors but no camouflage rocket down the runway on a tank filled with 95% ethanol. It hit 60 miles per hour in just 1.9 seconds again and again and braked well before the markers at the end. The test log showed every detail: exact valve events, fuel trim adjustments, exhaust temps. The onboard AI was making real-time tweaks, shaving off drops of fuel while keeping the engine cool enough to protect the turbos. Many still crave the feeling of a real engine. Slashgear's year-long series on drivers who refused to give up manual gearboxes broke traffic records. People kept coming back to the same reasons: sound, vibration, and a sense of control. They said that's what's missing from most electric cars. Koenigsegg's Lightspeed engine speaks to that crowd. It delivers the sound and feel of combustion without the climate guilt, cutting carbon emissions close to zero when it runs on renewable methanol. So drivers still get the thrill, while regulators still get to sign off. The economics are catching up too. Bloomberg Nef's most cautious projections still show that entry-level battery SUVs could cost the same as gas-powered ones by 2028. But Koenigsegg's internal supplier estimates put a light hybrid powertrain within 20% of that price point, as long as synthetic fuel is taxed at the same rate as regular gasoline. And in places where ethanol is already blended into the fuel supply, that price match could happen even sooner because, well, the infrastructure is already there. Jobs are just as important in this equation. A recent study by the International Council on Clean Transportation found that battery cell factories need about 144 workers per gigawatt hour. But most of those jobs are concentrated in just a few big facilities. On the other hand, a camless retrofit strategy like Koenigsegg's spreads the work across existing engine plants, assembly lines and dealerships, which keeps more people employed in more places. It's a model that unions in the US Midwest and lawmakers in Germany are now paying close attention to. They worry that if battery megafactories become the only game in town, jobs and value could drain out of their home region. Looking ahead, the data points toward a future of coexistence rather than one technology beating all the others. Bloomberg Neff now expects global sales of electric passenger cars to pass 39 million per year by 2030, with battery vehicles eventually dominating the market. But the International Energy Agency's net zero roadmap shows the fastest emissions cuts come when small, high-city cars go electric, while heavier-duty vehicles in rural areas rely on ultra-efficient engines burning low-carbon fuels. That kind of mixed system lets each technology do what it does best instead of trying to force one solution on everything. This philosophy of choice is now being road-tested in the real world. The Gemera, the first production car to feature the tiny friendly giant and dark matter hybrid powertrain, is not a mere laboratory experiment. It is a fully realized four-seater hypercar designed for both blistering performance and daily usability. Owners are reporting that the car's personality is as dual-natured as its technology. It can whisper through city streets in near-silent electric mode, then unleash a symphony of mechanical fury and instantaneous torque on command, all while remaining agnostic to its fuel source. The conversation is also shifting in legislative halls. The European Union's previous hardline stance on a complete ban on internal combustion engines by 2035 has been amended to allow for carbon-neutral e-fuels, a direct result of lobbying from automakers like Koenigsegg and Porsche, who argued for a technology-open approach to decarbonization. This regulatory pivot is crucial as it validates the development of sustainable fuels as a viable parallel path to electrification. It acknowledges that the goal is not to eliminate the engine, but to eliminate its emissions. Meanwhile, the aftermarket and legacy automaker sectors are, really starting to take note. Koenigsegg's free valve technology, through its subsidiary Free Valve AB, is actually being explored for licensing. Just imagine a future where a classic car enthusiast can retrofit a vintage V8 with a camless head, preserving the car's soul and sound while slashing its emissions, and honestly, even doubling its efficiency. Or, picture a major truck manufacturer adopting the system to create ultra-clean efficient diesel engines for long-haul transportation, especially where current battery technology is just, impractical. The challenge, of course, still remains scaling and cost. The precision actuators and sophisticated AI control systems in a Koenigsegg are, honestly, works of art. But art is expensive. The true test will be whether the technology can be simplified and mass-produced to a price point that's actually accessible to mainstream consumers. However, as the industry has learned from, everything from anti-lock brakes to turbochargers, technology that starts in hypercars has a habit of eventually trickling down to the everyday sedan. Ultimately, Christian von Koenigsegg's revelation is not just about a new engine, it's really a powerful argument against a monolithic, one-size-fits-all future. It reframes the question from what is the best replacement for the engine, to what is the best way to achieve sustainable mobility. And, the answer doesn't seem to be a single answer at all, but rather a spectrum of solutions. For some, it'll be a pure electric vehicle. For others, a hybrid. And for a growing number, it could be a high-performance, ultra-efficient, fuel-agnostic engine that actually preserves the emotional thrill of driving, without the environmental cost. The path forward is no longer a single road, but honestly, an open highway. Right now, the pieces are really coming together. Governments are writing rules that allow any clean technology to compete. Automakers are investing in synthetic fuel plants, just in case batteries don't quite go the distance. Drivers are still drawn to the emotional power of real engines, and the price gap between options is, closing fast. Christian von Koenigsegg has said it before, there's no need to pick just one path. Innovation isn't a zero-sum game. Whether you end up with a whisper-quiet motor or a fierce camless growl, the real win is having choices, because the best drivetrain for you might not be the best for someone else. And for the first time in a long while, that choice is finally back in your hands.